Hey everybody, welcome back to Trekyards in the 32nd century. I'm still Captain Foley.
And I am Duck Dodgers. 29th. Whatever century, but you get it. You get it.
I was thinking more like Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, because there's a show called Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. There's a cartoon.
Well, Buck Rogers, he moved centuries.
Yeah. Well, the irony is we're filming this on the 5-year anniversary to the day of Trekyards starting. That's our 5-year anniversary. So we're not in the 32nd century yet, but hopefully Trekyards will survive till then.
Yes, our great, and then massive civil war between the Trekyards fandoms, and a different group will take over, and they'll great grandsons, and then we're getting to it. But to be fair though, that sounds off topic, but that could happen in the Discovery universe. I brought it back because we're now in the future in Discovery. They did 2 seasons of pre-TOS.
Poorly.
Well, no.
At least canon-wise, poorly. It's not Prime.
Visually, it was 2019/18 designed, whatever. But they're finally going into the far distant future, about 1,000 years. Not to Terralysium, which we kind of saw and kind of knew. And theoretically not to the future that Burnham's mum went to, because they stopped Control, and it's the same place that came from-ish. So it's a new future, but not the same future as later futures that we get in like Endgame and such, where timeline's all been changed. This is a future, a version of Discovery future, and not actually going to be the formal canon, because, you know, times get changed throughout the timeline. You know. So, what do you think about the Federation? Now it's going to be in this potentially dark and potentially distant future, because in fact, Kurtzman did say the Federation still exists. Yesterday, in fact.
I mean, they're 930 years in the future, so almost 1,000 years. And we kind of said that the Federation still exists. However, the Federation might be evil and corrupted. And the reason that book says you believe in ghosts, because of that emblem on your chest, that's a Starfleet emblem. Yeah, is Starfleet no longer part of the Federation or fighting the Federation? Did the Federation become corrupt? Maybe go away that Starfleet didn't quite agree with, and so Starfleet is now a thing of the past, but not really. They're more like a rebellious group that's trying to stop the Federation now. There's a bunch of different ways to take that, and hopefully we are right, and there is like a rebellious Starfleet organization. That'd be really cool, actually.
The idea of Starfleet, which you kind of call the peacekeeping arm, the border patrol, it's not the military, but it serves the same function. But it is separate. You know, you can have Federation without Starfleet, but you can't have Starfleet without Federation. So what if then in the we know that 29th century time cops exist, so the 30th century, well, that's a conversation for a minute. They say, oh, well, Starfleet doesn't represent what we want. We need a more militaristic arm. We're going to, disband Starfleet and make the, Earth attack defense force. I don't know. Another thing which then, like I say, corrupts the ideals. Although we talk about the badge for a second, we know the 29th century badge is sidewards. So, it's one big diamond. So, it doesn't look like that. Doesn't look like the Delta anymore, necessarily. So you could say that. Although I'm very dubious as to how much of the future canon-y stuff they're going to reference, because we've had the Temporal Cold War around the same time, and the Time Cops relatively recently. So we know that stuff is relatively fresh in people's minds, or at least the history books. We remember the 1900s quite well, and it was just that far away. I mean, certainly, I've loved our idea of the whole the Civil War thing, but have the rebellion and the Federation, because it's definitely it's kind of in a sense retread, because we already did the Terran Empire Anti-Federation Season 1, did the Section 31 Anti-Federation Season 2, and if you do the Future Corrupt Federation in Season 3, it's kind of all the same exact plot, just different shades. I mean, they're all obviously approached differently, but I think that's more exciting. But I still want there to be a sense of they're doing the right thing for the right reasons. It's just the wrong people in charge.
Yeah.
And that's why I think...
Well,
there you
go. I was going to say, a lot of people have been comparing this latest season to Andromeda, where there is no Commonwealth in the future, besides like one planet that was left over, and Dylan Hunt's trying to reestablish the Commonwealth. So But that's been put away now because Kurtzman has said that the Federation does still exist. Now, he didn't say in what capacity, so that's why I have a feeling that even though Burnham runs into this guy in this office with this Federation flag, that's going to be a big problem because they are actually hunting down Starfleet, or what's left of Starfleet, in an effort to maintain control or something. And so she probably has her badge hidden at that point. She's got the coat on still. And then they might find out that she's part of Starfleet, so they try to imprison her in that facility we see, and then it looks like perhaps the rebellious Starfleet beam in, and they got their guns. They try to save them because you see them running together at one point. So, and I know the trailer shows it like they beam in or on the planet, and then all of a sudden they're Book and her are running away, but we've already talked about that, how it's two totally different scenes, just edited together really cleverly for the trailer to make us think that the guys in white with the sashes are actually the bad guys. And I think that's something they would do definitely for a trailer. It's just to not tip their hand. So
there's also only limited footage and limited stuff that can be done. So it's like, oh yeah, well, these two will fit together. And that's fine. The whole season isn't done. I mean, they're filming episode 6 and haven't written the last 3 episodes yet. So they're literally creating production while filming, which is very worrying. Some shows do it, but really you should write all the 20, all the 10. There's only like 10 episodes, 12 episodes anyway. Why can't you write all 12? Whatever. But yeah, there's certainly that swap of who's good and who's bad, and I love the idea of them sort of putting away Burnham because she knows what was good. Although obviously her part of the timeline, the Federation isn't that great, and she's dealt with Section 31 corruption, so she's not a model era.
And it would make sense, too, because if she was introduced to this guy, that the Federation still exists, and she's like, well, I'm from Discovery, and this is what happened, and he'd be like, what? What's Discovery? There's nothing in our records talking about Discovery or you. How am I supposed to believe you? Because at the end of season 2, no mention of Discovery was supposed to be made.
Records are expunged, and
so she would look either crazy or a liar or somebody trying to infiltrate the Federation from Starfleet. And actually, it's writing itself. It's actually great. So
and then you have the inclusion of the Trill, because one of the worst things for a totalitarian re-government, is to have knowledge of the past of when it was different, when it was better. And the Trill have massive lifespans. I can imagine that they've either stopped the outlawed Trill being, implanted, or that's a hidden pool, and we see the lady who's clearly, at least I say clearly, part of the new Federation, and has gone rogue because she sees the bad sides of it and goes to Burnham, and then she's been shown the pool, and that gives her, the knowledge that's what convinces her truly to swap sides, and with her they can change things and whatever. So I think the Trill are going to be a very clever way of remembering the truth, because if you want to actively destroy the past, or at least rewrite it heavily, then destroying the tech stuff is easier than living memories of heavily advanced alien races. But wouldn't it be kind of cool? And this is again we like to think of the canon and how it all connects. Wouldn't it be fun if part of the and again we're extrapolating everything here, but I think there's definitely evidence for everything we're saying, that we see the sort of propagandized version of this Federation. It's nice, clean, simple, but it's actually totalitarian and mean. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if they show like historical clips of stuff from the past, and it's completely wrong? I think back to Into Mirror Darkly when you see the tile sequence, and it's like same events but re-edited and new CGI. It's like, oh, this is dark and depressing. So it'd be cool to see like, cut to for some reason Enterprise D in the Borg, and it just destroys the Borg cube, and they say, and then we defeated the Borg, and it's like, what? Like they could do some real fun with that. This fake non-future.
And that's the way things go. I mean, history is written by the victors, and I think they might be going for an Empire type of vibe from Star Wars. How and we've seen the Phantom Menace, how the Galactic Empire is formed. It slowly infiltrates and eventually becomes like this thing of evil, and I think that could be the way they're going as well. But yeah, history is written by the victors, so it'll be interesting to see the future's take on what happened in the past.
Yep.
Just to see exactly, because it'll show that Starfleet's an evil organization. That's why they had to be hunted down. Or they had to be disbanded.
Well, that's very direct Star Wars. Probably more a case of, look how many wars happened because they wouldn't fight hard enough. we took over. Admiral Dijek in the 2850s, he said, no, we're not going to let wars like this happen ever again. So he invented the positronic quantum bomb singularity torpedo iPhone and was able to, eradicate war. And we've lived in 400 years of peace. But obviously the history they're taking out is 200 years of that Starfleet was fighting back because it was absurd. And then they won. And then, so that could be really, really fun. And I love the idea of, again, the visual of that room and having it be, hello, welcome to the Federation. We're nice. Because they're still going to have this nice, clean exterior. But then you dig underneath the surface and it's like, yeah, Nazis still, I don't know, hail Federation. You know what I mean? You can go anywhere with that. And the story, obviously, then to allow the rebels to take over the Federation in a sense. But we know there's probably less planets. It's less big. Although you can imagine that maybe the flag is... Because I did think when I saw the flag, those sides looked more like knives. They were sharper. Distinctly sharper. And maybe the stars are now an indication of what only matters is our founders. The rest of because in the other flag, all the stars exist as small stars as well. But every other planet is for us to protect and conquer. But these 6 are still the core, and we believe in those as being the superior planets. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I really like that take on it because, the Federation, we've heard before that, when we did our video on the Defiant, that because it was a pure warship, it was boycotted against by the Federation members because Starfleet's not about war. Mm-hmm. But looking back on that a couple centuries removed, you could be like, yeah, Starfleet was, always weak. They always try to be pacifist. We got attacked so many times by different forces, the Borg, the Dominion. If we had been stronger, that wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have lost so many civilian Federation lives. So the Federation had to step in and kind of quell Starfleet. And that would be a great plot point. I really like that take on it, actually, because, if you look back, like I said, a couple centuries removed, it really, you can say that, they were too peaceful of an organization. They didn't try hard enough to protect their citizens because we had all these wars and all these people died. If they had just been a little bit more heavy-handed and strong, we would have been much better off.
Well, especially if you bring in a character, and again, linked to Canon, you bring in a character who's like, well, my lineage almost died thanks to the Dominion. We served on 9 different ships. Me and my brother, or them and their brothers and their cousin, they all got wiped out at the Battle of Chinkara. Only my mother was able to survive. Like, you can make it very personal,
Yeah, exactly. And it could be that there was a Trill alive at that time, and that's why they go to the pools to share those memories, or just the memories are stored in the pool somewhere.
Yeah, we don't know really how Trill works.
In the pool, yeah. So. It could even be to confirm Burnham's identity, because, like I said, no records of her would exist, or the discovery per se. Mm-hmm. So just to prove that she's telling the truth, they would do that and then go, okay, well, this is legit. She's somebody that can help us or something. So many I don't know how long Trills live. I know that Dax was like 300 some odd years old, but I'm sure they can live a lot longer than that.
And obviously, as the timeline goes on, modern medicine improves. So, it should get more and more and more. You expect by 32nd century, humans can live to like 200 years and 180 years effectively. Like, you expect that to grow as you go on, especially if you start doing, bio augmentation. But it's interesting how we're kind of calling it as them taking a Star Wars approach, which we never liked in JJ and such. But obviously that was more tone, vibe, filmic style rather than like content. It's a weird thing to at the end of the day, we want good stories, good characters, and well told. Even if it's that sort of sidestep, if it's well told and doesn't disrespect what came before, you can enjoy it. It's this is all interesting stuff, and you could tell it well, especially if at the end of the day the moral is, well, no, the old way was better. Some people know that. Let's overthrow the people that ruined it, and then bring back some peace and quiet,
And I can totally see the, Burnham finding this guy to be like, oh, this is great. We found the Federation. Yep. It's not as bleak as we thought it was.
Yep.
And no, that's not the case. Mm-hmm. And that would be a great little twist. Although, as you said before, if that's the case, then we've already uncovered the twist, and it won't be much of a twist. But there's a lot of potential there for different storytelling. Hopefully, they do something really clever like that.
And hopefully, it's not just the Federation exists a bit, and there's these guys that want to destroy it, and they're bad,
Yeah.
You know,
It could be a Skynet type thing too. The holograms and the androids have taken over.
that's obviously just control again.
I know. That's
Yeah.
why I really wasn't saying that until
Yeah.
this point.
And I still got to wonder how they're going to link into the temporal Cold War, because that happened. That was a big thing that happened. And also time cops. I mean, I really think, although I don't want them to say, oh, the relativity class ships were disbanded in the year, once that's probably going into the future, you start inventing the future canon, although obviously, like I said, this is just a future. As soon as First Contact happens, the NX is changed and all that stuff. Like, the future keeps getting changed, given that every single time travel story pretty much happens after this point in the canon. You can't really assume you can't say this happened in the same way in the future, because like all of the stories, NX-01 had a couple of time travel stories, but had a handful. Everything else happens after this. They go to the future, so obviously there's more changes going on. But yeah, we're hopeful. Give us good stories, good characters, and cleverly written, and we will enjoy and review and let you know, our lovely adoring fans, on our 5th year anniversary. Oi.
Yeah. So let us know your theories down below, or what do you think of our theories? We'd like to think we kind of pieced together maybe what's going on in the trailer, but we've done that before, and sometimes we've been wrong. But it's always fun to speculate and look back at this later and go, we got it all. We hit the nail on the head, or we were way off base. So let us know in the comments what you guys think, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification icon so you get notified of all the cool stuff that we do, because there's a lot of cool new Trek coming, and we plan to look at all of it.
Yeah, all of it in depth. I mean, you've seen us on this channel releasing lots of great content this week. That's going to happen again when the shows come about, and Lower Decks, of course, and the Nickelodeon show in 2022. Very exciting stuff. So join us then, and Patreon, and all the things, and our lives. We have lots of fun. Just so many cool ways, guys. So support us then. And thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Until then, I'm Captain Foley.
And Commander Kongs. Bye, guys.